Deadly tornadoes hitting the southern states right now, and another OU coach is calling it quits. Plus, President Biden addresses reporters for the first time since taking office. This is OU Nightly. Hello and thanks for joining us for OU Nightly. I'm Abbi Bennett.
And I'm Alyse Jones. We begin with breaking news. Word that OU men's basketball head coach Lon Kruger is retiring.
Shannon Ehrhardt joins us live outside of Lloyd Noble with details. Shannon.
Shortly after 3 o'clock, Lon Kruger announced his retirement to his team. Kruger finished this season with a 195-128 record with the Sooners and 674 collegiate career wins. Not only did Coach Kruger bring this program from the ashes, but he became the first coach in OU history to win 6 NCAA tournament games within his first 5 seasons. In his 4th season at OU, he became the first and only coach since the NCAA tournament expanded to 64 teams to take 4 programs to the Sweet 16 or beyond. Under Kruger, the Sooners have seen 6 first-team All Big 12 selections and penciled in 32 academic All Big 12 honors, the most notable being Buddy Hield and Trae Young. And he radiates excellence off the hardwood, too, earning multiple recognitions for his roles as a community leader in the fight against cancer. A staple of rebuilding college basketball teams, Kruger has taken 5 different schools to the big dance in his 35 seasons as a head coach. Known as one of the most genuine coaches in college basketball, Lon Kruger will go down as one of the most prominent coaches in basketball history. Lon Kruger will have a press conference tomorrow morning. For OU Nightly, I'm Shannon Ehrhardt.
Another big story this afternoon. Strong storms are sweeping across part of the South right now that we know that the Calhoun County Sheriff in central Alabama is reporting that a tornado has killed at least 30 people.
We also know that there are several other people injured. Mikayla Smith joins us with the first look at the weather. Mikayla, we are starting to get video and of damage from around the Birmingham area.
Yeah, guys, so we're going to take a look at our radar here currently first. So it's live radar. We can see that those storms have moved to the east of us here. So that's what gave us that rain here last night. So we don't see any more rain here. It's moved to the east. But down here in Alabama and Mississippi, we really have to take a look. So we can see currently this yellow area. That is a tornado watch that is currently in effect for these areas. And it is a PDS tornado watch. So it means it's a particularly dangerous situation. So any kind of storm that were to fire up in this area could have long track, violent tornadoes. We've already seen a few here today. We can see some of these boxes here are red are currently. But again, this is from Alabama earlier today. So these storms are big. They do have big, violent tornadoes. You can see that debris that is coming with it. So they are causing damage. And we did mention earlier in Alabama that there were 3 people killed in Calhoun County. So these storms are not something to be messed with. They need to be taken very seriously because of that damage that we have. And in the South in general, the deep South, for this time of year in March, normally we have around 23 tornadoes on average, you can see right here. But just last week with our tornado outbreak that we had 48 tornadoes. And today we've already had 7 tornadoes. This day is not over. Unfortunately, it's going to go on into tonight as well. So it's something that we really do need to keep an eye on for. But we're going to have severe weather tips coming up, the deep South outbreak, how it's going to continue. And then I'll give you guys your weekend forecast. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Mikayla. As Oklahoma plans to move to phase 4 of the COVID-19 vaccination plan next Monday, there are nearly 500 new cases reported in the state today. This brings the total number of active cases to just under 11,000, and over 7,700 people in Oklahoma have died so far from the virus, according to the CDC.
OU students, faculty, and staff can take part in a large COVID-19 vaccine clinic here on campus tomorrow. The 1-dose Johnson & Johnson vaccine will be administered at no cost at the OU Armory. The university hopes to vaccinate 4,000 people. Clinic hours are from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., and you can register at OU Health Services using your OU email.
And the suspect in the Boulder, Colorado supermarket shooting appeared in court today. Lauren Johnson has that story and the rest of today's national headlines from the News Center.
Thanks, Abby. President Biden held his first news conference in his presidency. There was many topics on his agenda like new COVID-19 vaccine goals, gun control, and the border crisis. He made a new vaccine goal to achieve by the end of April, and he also spoke about the possibility of new gun control laws following the spa shooting in Atlanta and the shooting in Boulder, Colorado. The southern border has many migrants, and Biden says that this happens every year. And the suspect for the shooting at Colorado grocery store appeared in court for the first time today. The man charged with killing 10 people was brought to court in a wheelchair, and his attorney asked the judge to delay the next hearing. The defense attorney says they need to assess the man's mental health. The judge agreed to push it back 60 to 90 days. Until then, the suspect is being held without bond. North Korea launched a second missile test this week, according to the U.S. senior official. South Korea has said the 2 missiles fell into the sea between the Korean peninsula and Japan. Japan is calling this a threat to their peace and security. And North Korea also warned the Biden administration not to raise, quote, a stink as the U.S. Secretary of State visited Japan and South Korea to strengthen its ties. Also, social media CEOs are facing major criticism from members of Congress about misinformation and online extremism during their first appearance since the Capitol riots. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Lauren. Earlier this month, legislators passed a law allowing Oklahomans to obtain prescriptions using their Social Security number.
This bill was put into effect because of how hard it currently is to obtain a new Oklahoma ID. OU Nightly's Arata joins us live with that story.
Here I'm standing outside of a local tag agency where Oklahoma residents can come to get a new real ID. But most people are being forced to wait months just to get one.
House Bill 1246 states that you may use your Social Security number to obtain your prescriptions if your state-issued ID card is expired or if you have no other form of ID. This is because it has become nearly impossible for Oklahomans to get a new ID. Currently, Oklahomans can try to book an appointment online through the DPS or tag agency to get a new ID, but they are completely booked out for at least 60 days.
We do accept walk-ins at most of our locations. We just can't guarantee if we'll be able to see you or not. It just kind of depends on the volume of appointments.
The tag agency and DPS are taking walk-ins, but people start lining up hours before they even open just to get a spot. Oklahoma is one of the last states to comply with the federal Real ID program passed following the September 11 attacks. The Real ID Act established minimum standards for the production and issuance of state-issued driver's licenses and ID cards.
7 to 10 days.
The new House bill is just one of the many things the Oklahoma government is implementing to help Oklahomans with this new ID issue.
But to have this as, an across-the-board, possibility, it just clears up a lot of confusion, especially for pharmacies.
Just last month, Governor Kevin Stitt signed an executive order directing the Department of Public Safety to expedite renewals or replacements of valid driver's licenses and IDs. The Oklahoma DPS is working hard to solve this issue.
It's a top priority over here to come up with any ideas that we can to try to see more people, because we know there's frustration out there.
Now the DPS and Oklahoma legislature hope to solve this issue before October 1st, when people without a real ID will not be allowed through airport TSA. Reporting live, Katie Arata, OU Nightly.
Thanks, Katie. If you are looking to book an appointment to get a new ID, you can do that at inlineonline.ok.gov. And up next on OU Nightly, Pfizer is starting a trial to test vaccines on children. Find out who is participating.
Plus, many may have experienced changes in weight over the last year. Find out how the stress of the pandemic has affected many Americans. Straight ahead on OU Nightly. Pfizer is starting to test coronavirus vaccines on children under the age of 12. The company says more than 100 children will be enrolled in the 5 to 11 age group. Pfizer is the first determining appropriate dose for them before moving to the younger children. Like adults, children will be on a 2-dose schedule 21 days apart.
Changes in routines during the pandemic led to changes in weight for many Americans. Haley Weger has the story in today's Health Beat.
If you've put on a few pounds over quarantine, you're not alone. The stress of the pandemic has caused undesired weight change in 61% of U.S. adults. A new study shows that 6 in 10 adults had unwelcomed weight loss or gain since the start of the pandemic.
It's been a terrible year all in all, and all of the things that have been happening in the last year have kind of compounded in our weight.
And these weight changes may not be from extra snacking over quarantine.
So there's actually a lot of different things that contribute to weight gain during the pandemic.
Some of those reasons are stress, changes in routine and diet, and even sleep patterns.
Ideal sleep is somewhere between 7.5 to 8 hours of sleep a night for adults. And so if you're getting more than that consistently, say you get to sleep in every morning because you don't have to do your morning commute, it's actually not beneficial to you from a weight standpoint.
While everybody's weight loss journey looks different, it's important to remember what we've been through during the pandemic.
But I think that it's just really important for people to have the knowledge and understanding that there's a reason why this has happened. You know, we beat ourselves up because we gained 20 pounds, and yes, it sucks and it's terrible, but you've got to give yourself a little bit of grace for everything that's happened over the past year.
Dr. Nelson emphasized the importance of talking to medical professionals for extra help if you feel overwhelmed by undesired weight changes. Alyse and Abbi, back to you guys.
Thanks, Haley. The local library is hosting a free drive-in movie.
Find out more details straight ahead. And Mikayla, what severe weather updates can we expect?
Yeah, so currently here in Norman, everything is nice and calm, but down there in the deep south, there are currently tornado outbreaks happening. So we're going to come back here in a few and take a look at that. To OU Nightly, we can take a current look at our OKC skyline cam, and we can see beautiful sky out there today. A couple clouds in the sky, but overall today it's been a nice day, sitting around 50s earlier, just now got up to 60 degrees. So again, it's been a bit of a chilly day here for most of us around the state. 50s for most of us. We got a bit warmer down here in Idabel, sitting at about 65. So we had a cold front that moved through last night that gave us a bit of rain. So it was a much needed rain. We got a bit above 2 inches here in Norman, just under 2 inches in Tulsa. So a lot of this area needed to see rain, and we got that the last few days. But with that cold front that moved through into our area, we can see right here, now it's impacting Alabama and Mississippi, and it's bringing with it this low pressure system that is moving off to the east, but with it is bringing that cold front that is currently giving them all their storms. Now behind it is this high pressure system that's going to be nice. It's going to be giving us sunshine and warm weather here and as well as in the south. It's going to do that, but first we have to deal with all of these storms that is currently happening there. So we can see this live radar that we have right now here in Alabama, Mississippi. Again, we have that tornado watch. That is this yellow area. It is a PDS tornado watch, so a particularly dangerous situation. We can see these red polygon areas. Those are going to be tornado warnings. Now, I've been told that this tornado warning right here has a very large tornado that is currently on the ground. They have confirmed that. So if you are in this area of this red polygon, you want to be taking shelter now, getting into the lowest area of your house, watching more than that. And if you know anybody here, loved ones or anything, you want to go ahead and let them know about that, because this is, again, a very dangerous day. We can see our SPC outlook. We have a high risk here, so it includes Birmingham, Decatur, Columbus. So this is a high risk. It's a 5 out of 5 risk for the SPC. And with that, we have our tornado outlook that we can see. Now, this area right here is a 30% hatched area for a tornado. So that is the likelihood of within 25 miles of there being a tornado from you. So again, this is a big deal. It is happening all in the south today. And with tornadoes, we also have hail with these storms. So that's also something you want to be taking into consideration, because tornadoes and hail damage is a big deal with these storms. Now, severe weather safety, it might not be happening currently here, but our time for severe weather is coming. So some safety tips. When you have a tornado warning, you want to go into the lowest level of your house, get into the most interior room that you can, get away from windows. If you're in a mobile home, you need to leave the mobile home. You don't want to be under overpass or anything. So these are the things you want to follow. Put something to cover your head and your neck, because those are the areas that you need to protect. Now, here tonight though, the lows are going to be a bit chilly, but we are going to start that warming trend into tomorrow. We're going to be in the 70s for most of the state, a little bit cooler in Guyman, but again, we are starting that warming trend going into this weekend. 73 tomorrow, 71 on Saturday, so we're going to have a cool start, warming back up Saturday into this weekend. We're going to have that sunshine. It's going to be a great time to go and get out. And then into Monday and Tuesday next week, we do have those rain chances. We may see a storm or two, but we'll keep an eye on that as it gets closer. But again, we're really going to be enjoying the weather as it comes into the next few days. And this weekend, we really want to get outside and enjoy those sunshine after all of these storms and this weather that we've had currently here. Back to you guys.
The Norman Public Library Central is hosting a drive-in movie on Saturday. The event, put on by the Norman Film Festival, will take place at the main library at 8:15. Participants will be able to park their cars in the back lot, where they can tune their car's radio to a designated station and watch the movie Hunt for the Wilder People on a projection screen from their vehicles. The movie is kid-friendly and is free.
Well, Sooner baseball saw their 6-game win streak come to an end last night.
Myles Smith will break down that game for us and other news in the sports world. Myles.
That's right. Next up in sports, we'll be talking about the latest in Sooner sports. And finally, the Olympic torch is on the move. Stay tuned. Hello, I'm Myles Smith, and it is time for your sports. We have a full show of sports news, so let's jump right into it. As we heard earlier from Shannon, longtime OU head coach of the OU basketball team, Lon Kruger is calling it a career after 10 seasons in Norman. Coach Kruger leaves behind an overall record of 195-128 at OU. In his 10-year career with the Sooners, Kruger had 7 NCAA appearances and 1 Final Four appearance. One iconic season for Kruger was the 2016 season as he coached Buddy Hield and Isaiah Cousins to the Final Four in NCAA tournament. The Sooners entered the tournament as a 7 seed with a record of 29-8, but their Cinderella story was cut short after falling to a number 2 seed Villanova 95-51. Coach Kruger leaves behind a legacy that Sooner fans will remember forever. And now we take it over to the Diamond. After a hot game winning streak, the OU baseball team fell to Texas State on Wednesday. The Sooners started off slow, falling 2-0 before scoring their first run in the 5th inning. But the late rally wasn't enough to put the Sooners on top, and the Sooners' hot streak ended with a 5-2 loss. They will travel to Austin tomorrow to play a series against Texas. Coming off 2 dubs against the Timberwolves and the Rockets, the Oklahoma City Thunder suffered a loss to the Memphis Grizzlies last night. The Thunder fell 116-107 with Moses Brown leading the way with 19 and 12 boards off the bench. They are currently 19-25 on the season and ranked 13 in the Western Conference. The NBA trade deadline ends today, and some teams have made some serious power moves. The biggest story of the trade deadline was the Orlando Magic trading 3 of their starters and five players in total. The NBA All-Star Nikola Vucevic was sent to the Chicago Bulls in a 4-player deal. Magic forward Aaron Gordon is heading to the Denver Nuggets in exchange for Nuggets guards Gary Harris, R.J. Hampton, and a first-round pick. Hawks veteran guard Rajon Rondo is heading to the Clippers in exchange for Lou Williams and 2 second-round picks. Rockets guard Victor Oladipo was sent to Miami in exchange for Kelly Olynyk, Avery Bradley, and a pick swap. 1 year after the 2020 Olympics were postponed due to the pandemic, the Olympic torch relay is now officially underway. Athletes will carry the torch across the country to arrive in Tokyo for the opening ceremony on July 23rd. One spectator speaks about the bigger meaning of the ceremony.
I think some people will feel more positive about the Olympics after the torch relay. I think the image of the Olympics was tarnished because of the coronavirus pandemic and some scandals. But when people see the torch relay and athletes training hard, I think they will realize the positive aspects of the Olympics. It's a chance for everyone in the world to come together as one.
There are over 10,000 hand-selected torchbearers that were selected out of 500,000 applicants. And last but not least, the OU softball team starts Big 12 play tomorrow against the Iowa State Cyclones in Ames. They go into conference play setting undefeated, with leading the way senior Jocelyn Arlo has been a one-woman wrecking crew, leading the country in home runs and ranks 2nd nationally in slugging percentage. It will be a great game to watch. Back to you ladies at the desk.
Thanks, Myles. There's a new hero around, but this time it's a furry friend.
Stick around to hear about the pup who nearly saved his owner's life, straight ahead on OU Nightly.
I'm Bailey Coyle at the OU Nightly Update Desk. The University of Southern California will pay out an $852 million settlement after more than 700 women accused the college's gynecologist of sexual abuse. Dr. George Tyndall faces 35 counts of sexual misconduct between 2009 and 2016. He has pleaded not guilty and is free on bond. I'm back to you in the studio.
Finally tonight, check out this hero dog from Canada. Clover and her owner Haley were on a walk when all of a sudden the owner had a seizure and fell to the ground.
Clover was able to stop traffic and flag down a truck. The driver was able to assist Haley and get her the help she needed. Haley and Clover are doing great now and continuing their daily walks. And thank you for tuning into OU Nightly. We're live every weekday from Gaylord Hall on the campus of the University of Oklahoma.
We'll see you back here tomorrow night, live at 4:30. Good night.